I'm Gareth Davies. This is the Stomping Ground with Oscar Bevis. He's over there, powered by Wow Hydrate, sponsored by DAZN. And it's all on the Stomping Ground. Charlie Parsons, eat your heart out.
As well said as it could ever be said. Can I just say, so yesterday was 29, I was sitting in the pub, I was like, this is hot. My mate went, it's going to be 33 tomorrow. Got off the Bakerloo line here, I'm in bits. You've turned up in a waistcoat and trousers.
Yes.
Only you.
Decorum,
Gareth.
my friend, at Milos restaurant here in Pall Mall.
He knows how to pick a restaurant, Frank.
No, it's one of his favourites and one of mine as well. It's a great restaurant. The food was to die for today. Octopus, sea bass, calamari. Never let it be said that Frank isn't old school in terms of... It's always happened this. The old school promoters always took us out for a press lunch. Obviously, it's majorly ahead of the big Wembley event in which he revealed today 83,000 tickets sold for Daniel Dubois and Oleksandr Usyk and Daniel Dubois for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world on July the 19th. So that's what the lunch was about today. Great to sit and talk to Frank and about Daniel Dubois and his development. But listen, it's quite cool in here. I didn't wear a jacket today, but I wasn't going to come to Milos in like a skanky t-shirt and a pair of trainers.
Why have you looked me up and down as you've said that?
I didn't say you were wearing a skanky t-shirt. I just looked
gave
at
me
your
the look.
t-shirt. I love teasing you, Oscar. You know that.
I know.
But it's a very smart establishment. And when we walked in today, the Greek music was playing. It was absolutely replete
Lovely
with
fresh fish on
clientele.
Reveal.
The what was the sashimi we had today as well? The emperor fish sashimi. Emperor fish sashimi, some with lemon, some with parsley, some with garlic, some with chilies. There's Lewis Hart from the Ring magazine. Look at him, packing a punch with his microphones everywhere. Put on a bit of weight.
I was going to say, you told him he's put on a bit of...
He's put on a bit of weight. Yeah, of course it's a good thing.
Oh, you meant stocky. I thought you meant like a little...
Yeah, he's been trying, he says. He's always trying. He's very, very trying. But he's there with his microphones. They're all lining up for Frank Warren. Josh Hart, Lewis Hart. You know, all the Harts. Heart to heart.
Way too many heartthrobs.
Bret Hart.
Way too many heartthrobs in the building, including you and that. You spoke about Daniel Dubois, right? And you said 83,000 tickets.
Brilliant.
Did you presume or assume that it would sell as well? Because when he beat Anthony Joshua was... say the draw. He normalised Wembley Stadium shows. Not that Usyk-Dubois is not an unbelievable fight. Did you believe that it would sell quite as well as we've heard today?
Well, I was wondering what the numbers were. I mean, people rumour that it's not selling well and this, that and the other, and I wondered if it was over 70,000, but to hear 83,000 sold, and I'm sure they'll get up to 90 odd in the next couple of weeks, is just staggering. It just shows not only how big this is as an event, but how boxing is really at the centre of things at the moment. It's a great time of year to have it. It's the football off season. It's the end of the the FIFA World Club Championship, FIFA Club World Championship. So it's perfectly staged. A brilliant time to do it. It's an event that's going ahead without the investment of the Saudi Arabians. So that's another notch for Frank Warren in that way, in terms of canonical ownership of an event with Oleksandr Usyk and Dubois. Really excited for it. So really, July is an amazing schedule for boxing in general, Oscar, and can't remember a July that was quite this good.
Just in terms of Daniel Dubois, and I know Frank's had a lot of, if not pretty much the majority of the best fighters this country has ever seen and beyond. Could we be talking about Daniel Dubois as Frank's best investment when you... And I know this is hearsay, but say 8, 9, 10 years' time, could we be looking and go, Daniel Dubois was Frank Warren's best investment ever?
Well, if he wins the Undisputed title and breaks history as the first Brit to win the Undisputed title in a fight on these shores, which is the history of this actual event on July the 19th, then... you can make a case for that. I mean, Frank Bruno was a great success for him. Ricky Hatton was an amazing success. Nassim Hamid was brilliant success. Joe Calzaghe was a great success. So Tyson Fury was, from 2015 onwards was amazing. Interestingly, coming up behind it, you've got Moses Tauma as well, who could be the greatest import/export that we've ever had in terms of a heavyweight boxer. Obviously, he fights Dillian Whyte on August the 16th in Riyadh. But
can I just say, in terms of Moses, just quickly, sorry to break this up.
Yeah.
I know that a couple of the paper guys were talking about numbers, and obviously we see numbers and who drives numbers, and it normally takes someone to be perhaps at their most flourishing, at the highest point of their career. You sit down with Daniel Dubois now and there's interest. Moses, although he's been moved quite quickly, is driving huge numbers, huge traction already for someone who is yet to break to that world mode, although we believe he's there. He's driving huge traction. Numbers-wise, he's unheard of, is that? Or perhaps only for an Olympian as AJ.
It's because everyone's talking about him, and right now he's got the aura of unbeatable, invincible. When I went to see him in a gym in Bromley in January with Francis Warren, Francis spoke then that we could be having a generational sports talent here, a guy who, he used Messi, Ronaldo, LeBron James, that kind of ilk, a Federer. In tennis, being it's the first day of Wimbledon, we should mention them in that analogy maybe, or that comparison, but everybody wants to see, everyone's thrilled by the journey, everybody's enticed by what he's done so far, his age, how he carries himself, how he's been propelled into a main event already against a name in the heavyweight division, maybe a guy who's slightly over the hill in the heavyweight division. I don't want to be disrespectful to Dillian Whyte, because we don't know what Dillian is capable of doing against Moses. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that he's doing big numbers. He's got that resonance. He's got people excited. He's delivered so far in every time he's fought. So so in a weird way, I mentioned it to Frank earlier, he's got 10 of the top 20 heavyweights in the world right now. It might even be more than that. But he's got an incredible heavyweight stable. I can't ever remember him having so many fighters from the blue ribbon division. But to go back to Daniel, he could be one of the greatest success stories. If he deals with Usyk handily, if he stops Usyk, if he beats Usyk up in the manner that he beat Anthony Joshua up, and I don't expect him to do it in that manner.
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
Because he's heavy-handed.
If he beats Usyk up and he stops him, then it's going to be a massive story in Britain. And the great thing about this for Daniel, if it does happen right now, is having spent time with him recently, he's a bit more like an open book now. He's grown up. He's very open. It's great to be around him. He offers things now. He offers conversation to you. In the past, you'd sit with him and you were literally trying to nurture him, to get him to acquiesce, to answer questions. And he's a different guy, and I hope he carries that into the ring with him.
Yeah. I can't wait. I cannot wait for July the 19th. Just in terms of Daniel and that growth, do you feel like, because we were talking about this again at the table, that perhaps during the Joe Joyce fight, it felt like he had been, I don't want to say coerced, but behind the scenes he was told perhaps to say certain things. And I remember he said a couple of things about Joe's mother, and it seemed like a bit forced, where perhaps now you're looking at someone who...
What, your mother can't see me? Those, yeah. I don't think they would...
Whereas now it all seems genuine. Like when you look at the round table where he said to AJ, if you want to go, we'll go now. I watched that and thought, like that seemed like something that, he might want to go now. Whereas the Joe stuff felt, I don't like the word...
That's a long time ago.
I don't like the word forced, but...
That's a long time ago now. My takeaway from Daniel Dubois and Joe Joyce is that Daniel Dubois lived to fight another day, and that I don't like the label of quitter, because someone...
It's an easy get out for...
No, but people
quite an
get
easy
labelled
label to watch
quitter.
the fight and
when
go.
People label them as quitters, they label them as categorically quitters, as opposed to they lived to fight another day, which is what he did on that occasion. What they're saying is the person doesn't have heart, and I don't believe that with Daniel. I don't believe. I think he was outboxed and outbeaten by Usyk in the first fight. And he was out-punched by Joe Joyce with a ramrod jab on Joe Joyce is arguably finest night as a heavyweight, or maybe Joseph Parker when he knocked Joseph Parker out was a brilliant night as well. I was there on, I think, at both of them. Might not have been there for, was the one in lockdown? Was one in lockdown?
Joyce-Dubois was at Church House during lockdown. It was that they went back to back with Yard and Arthur, 2 in 2 weeks.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't want to speculate on how he was trash talking 4 years ago. Was it? He was a very different man then. Look, I'll round it off for you. If it was forced, if there were words put in his mouth, it didn't come out naturally at the time. I don't think Daniel Dubois is a man who espouses resentment towards other people in the way that he deals with other people. He does that thing, I'm going to fucking bash you up, I'm going to fucking knock you out, but he's not someone that's going to make fun of Marvel because she's only got 6% eyesight. I don't see him as that kind of guy. I don't think Stan, his father, has brought his children up in that way. So, you know, I'm, much as you probably want me to say things for a headline, I don't think he was trying to get stuck into Joe Joyce in that way and trying to have a go at him and get under his skin because of his mother and in a kind of underhand way. I don't believe that. I think he was trying to get stuck into Usyk, and he believes that Usyk cheated him out of victory in Wroclaw.
As does
yeah,
Don,
I mean, that's fine. They're entitled to that view. They're entitled to have as strong a view as they want. I'm on record. I thought the punch was low, borderline low. Frank's round the corner there doing interviews. You're going to speak to him. Frank was sending me blooming aggressive messages for about the next 2 months. Wouldn't pick up the phone, but was telling me to F this.
You could just move that curtain behind you then. I'm sure Frank would be listening in and going...
No, he's over it now, thank God. But I thought it was a low blow, borderline low blow. I thought Luis Pabon was right at the time. I thought Usyk milked it, and I also thought that Don Charles and Daniel Dubois getting into Usyk, trying to get into him, that he was cheated out of a victory. That's part of their shtick. There's nothing underhand about that. It's mind games, and he's probably got better at playing the mind games. Yeah.
Right, let's talk Jake Paul.
Who?
Jake Paul.
Was he fighting last weekend? Was he fighting last weekend? I didn't even know he was fighting. You know that is, don't you?
Yeah, Dana.
Yeah.
Dana. By the way,
Dana White of Zeus.
Do you believe Dana White?
Dana
do you
White.
believe Dana White actually believed that?
No, I think he knew the fight was going on.
Yeah. I know that seems perhaps... I think everyone thought he knew, but I was just wondering if...
Dana White. He may have not.
He's so busy and he doesn't...
Maybe, but...
Did you watch?
It did go under the radar. I did watch it. I had both on. I had 2 screens on Saturday night after Talk Sport. Got home about 2 a.m. Had a Red Bull on the way home that I don't normally do. So I was like flying. Had the fights on from 4 a.m. UFC on one screen, UFC 317. That was brilliant, by the way. And I love this guy Ilia Topuria, and I loved Paddy Pimblett getting in the octagon with him afterwards and calling him out. Even though Dana White wasn't happy, it said Dana White wasn't happy about that. It was a horrible, turgid affair in which Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. completely shocked me that he barely threw a punch for 8 rounds. I mean, literally barely threw a punch. And Jake Paul didn't throw that many either. So it was very turgid.
Did you look at it and think, when he did throw a punch at their... I looked at some of the exchanges when he did throw and thought, you could have done something here.
You could have
done something in this fight. Like,
I don't know. He won the last 2 rounds because he went for it.
Yeah.
Jake Paul was tiring. He landed quite a few shots. He got Jake Paul on the back foot. You know, the disclosure of his earnings, $750,000. Maybe he just wanted an easy payday for the night and didn't want to open up. But I'm not surprised people have got conspiracy theories about that he'd gone out there to deliberately not try and beat Jake Paul, because he didn't look like he wanted to fight for 8 rounds, and I'm not exaggerating there. You've seen it, yeah? I mean, I couldn't believe it. I mean, again, when you watch these fights at 4 or 5 in the morning in the UK, and I could barely stay awake watching it. It was a very bizarre spectacle. And I think the fight's gone under the radar, and people are very critical of it. Jake Paul obviously wants to fight Tommy Fury next. Great for Tommy Fury.
I mean, he faced off with Zerdo afterwards.
He faced off with Zerdo, Ramirez, the Golden Southpaw as well. I mean, this Golden Southpaw is going to beat him up. Jake Paul looked like a Southern Area champion in there on Saturday
Do you think
night.
he would win a Southern Area title?
Yeah, that's about his level. Yeah, it's about his level.
Floyd Schofield, by the way, really, really impressive. I don't know, maybe took some anger out from the ongoings of Riyadh in February.
Oscar De La Hoya enjoyed it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Look, very, very fine performance by him on Saturday night. I thought he looked very, very good.
Did he need that? Because off the back of Riyadh, it was pretty understandable why perhaps some people were going, that situation does not look good for you, your father and your career, if we're being completely honest and stand up.
I thought he looked so impressive. I mean, to beat Kevin Farmer, wasn't it? Tevin Farmer. Did I call him Kevin Farmer? I'm sorry, Tevin. To beat him like it was a round, wasn't it? To beat him like that, and Farmer's decent, was very, very impressive. Just beat him up, stopped him, dropped him. You know, he couldn't be more impressive than that.
Just winning with a complete aura that he's got.
Yeah.
The ability to hurt someone.
Yeah.
The rematch, Eubank-Benn 2. Everything, I believe, bar obviously the purses to be the same, rehydration
and the venue,
clause, weight, venue. Is that what you expected from the second fight, or did you expect there to be a couple of tweaks? Obviously, one of the main talking points, bar senior turning up, was the weight.
Well, the weight's yet to be decided, isn't it?
We believe it to be the same.
Yeah, no, it will be the same. But the Boxing Board of Control, the promoters, the team should intervene and give Eubank Jr. a bit more leeway, in my view. But he was chronically dehydrated after the first fight, an exhausting 12-round war as well. Let's hasten to add. And they should acquiesce and let him have a little bit more leeway on the weight, in my view, because he's clearly struggling to get to 160.
How do you see the fight playing out? I know we're 3 months away, but do you see a similar story throughout the rounds that we saw in the first fight?
Yeah, it will have taken quite a lot out of Chris Eubank. I think if they make him weight drain again in the same way, I think it'll be a closer fight this time, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Ben winning the second fight. But I'm going to pick Eubank to win again in a similar fashion to the first fight. But I think the draining weight is not healthy for him, and it could be catastrophic for him in the fight second time around.
Yeah. How do you think Senior will feel second time
Well,
around?
he will be against it till he's there, you know.
And do you think he'll be there throughout fight week?
Well, it'll be something different this time.
How do they
replicate
exactly?
Door. How do they replicate Egggate this time? How do they replicate and all the drama that caused?
So much had gone on, I forgot about Egggate. I think that says it all.
Yeah, but also the drugs cases. The fact the fight was binned at the 11th hour, or cancelled and pulled off, postponed rather, or suspended on the Wednesday of fight week because of the clomiphene tests. That it had 2.5 years to marinate. 2.5 years, wasn't it? Incredibly. That we had Egggate, like you say. We had Chris Eubank Sr. coming on the night and causing an amazing moment of drama and theatre. I don't know how they're going to replicate that second time around. Do they take it to another city? Do they take it to a Manchester football stadium this time? Are they looking at that? I understand Spurs are playing away on September the 20th, so they could do it there. Do
you think this time the fight would sell out Wembley Stadium? I know there might have been perhaps reservations first time that Tottenham 65 is doable, Wembley 90, perhaps plus 3-4 on the ground was not. Do you think this time Wembley would be?
Oscar, my instinct is that it's going to be a similar number again, because I think the cachet of that first fight probably can't be replicated in quite the same way. So, as I say, I mean, I'm on record as saying I thought it should have been one and done. People will still want to go. People missed out the first time and want to go and see it. So I think it'll be back at Spurs.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some tremendous fights over the last 18 months that
it's the fight of the year this
haven't
year.
Been one and done.
I think
it's
the
Bivol Beterbiev 2. We
Yeah.
believe there'll be a 3 Usyk Fury 2.
Yeah.
Do you believe there are two, and I don't want to say too many, do you believe there's perhaps a sprinkle or a handful of fights that are or should be one and done, that perhaps you get number 2.
No,
I don't want to
better
say
be
for
a
the sake
Bivol
of it.
is a three
That's what I
fighter.
mean, better be a
36
Bivol on
rounds.
Usyk Fury.
Yeah.
Second time, third time round for better be a Bivol.
No.
I understand. Is there too many fights though where we're perhaps seeing a second where we may not need to?
Maybe, but if it makes commercial sense, it'll happen, and they know they're going to make money out of this, and Ring Magazine are sponsoring it as well, so they know the money's there for it. So when the money's there, it'll always happen.
Final one, Hamzah Sheeraz, Edgar Berlanga. He is on smoke, Edgar Berlanga. He just doesn't like Hamzah Sheeraz. Something has I don't want to say unnerved him. Something has
He
hit
doesn't
a
like
nerve.
anyone though, does he? He's always slagging people. He's slagging Oscar De La Hoya off. He's slagging Canelo off
One of
when
many,
he fought
yeah.
him. It's a really tough fight for Hamzah Sheeraz a week on Saturday. This, in
You
my
say
view.
Edgar goes in favourite then?
Berlanga's easy to hit, but hits very hard. Hamzah hits very hard and needs to be more elusive. Not be on the back foot and as much as he was against Carlos Adames either. The fact he's up at super middleweight now makes a massive difference. An extra 8 pounds. Physically, he looks very different. We know he hits hard. He's got to carry that power now up to super middle. I wish him well. I'm a huge advocate of the manner in which Hamzah Sheeraz handles
He's a
himself.
lovely bloke, isn't he?
He's
an
a great
absolutely
guy.
lovely
He's a
bloke.
great guy, great family. Kamran, his dad, I get on very well with. His advisors are friends as well now. They're a great bunch of people. And if he really impresses against Berlanga, notwithstanding what happens with Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford on September the 13th in Vegas, I'd love to see Hamzah as the guy that draws Canelo over here to have a big fight at Wembley Stadium. It'd be amazing.
Gareth, you're the man. Any final words of wisdom for Monday afternoon? People might need a little pick-up, although the heat
just
is lovely.
Monday
and I'm sure
afternoon,
everyone's feeling really good.
get yourself a nice little margarita, a nice little cocktail, and you just make sure you listen to her indoors, because you know what I always say to you.
Punching above
If you got a
my weight,
happy wife, you got a happy life. I'm not going to say about you punching above your weight. She's a beautiful girl, but happy wife, happy life.